Donald Trump's plane has landed in Milwaukee ahead of the Republican National Convention. Eric Trump confirming on X that he touched down with his father just moments ago. On a post on Truth Social, Trump said he considered delaying his arrival by 2 days, but decided not to let terrible events change his plans. But the focus remains on security in Milwaukee now. At an afternoon press conference, authorities said there will be no changes to plans that were put in place before the assassination attempt. Here's the RNC coordinator to the Secret Service.
We are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go. We're not anticipating any changes to our operational security plans for this event.
Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard, who joins us live from Milwaukee. I think person after person after person, if I had to sort of summarize what their message was, it was a level of confidence. But I wonder what you're hearing about reaction to this decision by the Secret Service to leave plans unchanged.
Right. It was made clear by not only Secret Service, but FBI and local law enforcement that they had the resources that they need to ensure the security of this event. Of course, that is the line that if you're a community member or the Trump family or a Republican coming into this convention that you want to hear. And when I asked the U.S. Secret Service official who is in charge of overseeing the entire security apparatus in the logistics of coordination with all the other law enforcement agencies, why folks should be confident about the security. She said it's because they have worked 18 months to build for this moment. It's a national special security event, much like the State of the Union is or Inauguration Days. It's essentially the Department of Homeland Security designating special resources and the obligation of the Secret Service to go and oversee building out a security apparatus that can guarantee the safety. But of course, there are legitimate reasons for folks to be concerned. That said, there is a hard perimeter here where there are no firearms allowed. That is the immediate area around this arena. And then there is what we are calling a soft perimeter, which is several blocks further outside. And because Wisconsin is an open carry state, firearms are allowed in that zone. There are no vehicles that are allowed in, but the public can come and go. Of course, you just watched the former president, presumptive Republican nominee, land here into Milwaukee. We know Doug Burgum, a VP potential finalist, is also here in Milwaukee, and the more than 2,000 delegates are already here in the city as well, Chris.
I was really struck by a story that Adrienne Broadus told us just a short time ago. She obviously is on location there, and she talked to someone who was at the event, obviously very much shaken by what she saw, by how close the bullet came to former President Trump. And her reaction has been to get in a car, and she's driving to Milwaukee. She just wants to go there in a show of support. And I wonder if you're hearing anything about delegates. Thousands of them, I know, had already arrived at the time of the assassination attempt. But is there any sense that anything less than pretty much a full house is expected there?
No. If anything, the delegates I talked to said that they expect more energy within the arena, and they regret that the arena doesn't have a larger capacity to fill in alternate delegates and others from the public who would like to come in. And currently, as we speak, there is a private delegate festival of sorts about 2 miles down the road from where we are right now. It's not open to the press. That's why we're not there. But that is an opportunity after last night's delegate reception was canceled because of the events that unfolded in Pennsylvania. This is the chance for the delegates all to convene before, in the early afternoon, the official gaveling of the convention comes together and this arena is filled. So the landscape around here, even tomorrow morning, is going to be a lot different. But I think that is a serious question. Of course, the reason that we are in Wisconsin is because it's a battleground state. And so we know from having covered Wisconsin rallies outside in Waukesha County, outside of Milwaukee here, but also the rural parts of the state, folks are willing to drive hours to come to a rally. And by all means, folks are allowed to come into this greater expanded perimeter that is shut down, but the public can come in. And so we will, of course, be looking to go and see just the extent to which this is a galvanizing event for his base of support at a moment in which we find ourselves just 3.5 months from the November election, Chris.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.